What's going on, boxing fans? It's Julian Williams with The Distance. I'm back with another video. This is going to be a prediction. This one, it's for a fight that a lot of people aren't really talking about. Mainstream is not really covering the fight. Because really, it's a couple fighters who. One fighter was a former champion that kind of fell out of obscurity, and another guy, is a guy that's kind of coming up now. That a lot of people hadn't heard of until he had an upset recently against the guy that one of these men beat. This matchup is Nagy Aguilera versus Samuel Peter. Heavyweight fight. My bad. Heavyweight fight. IBF title eliminator taking place in Grapevine, Texas. Which is near. It's kind of near where I live. Grapevine, a little closer to Irving. I live in Duncanville, but currently I live in Duncanville. So anyway, onto the fight. Puts together the former heavyweight champion against the man that just scored the upset against Oleg Moskayev, knocking him out in one round. And Samuel Peter was able to do so, I think, in like 8 or 9 rounds, something like that. But I know it was like late in the later rounds in that fight because I did watch it a couple years ago. But anyway, onto the fight. Aguilera, from what I've seen of him, and I've seen a couple fights with him, Aguilera has very good hand speed. Not the best hand speed, not that Ali type hand speed, but he has good hand speed. He has good general movement and good and pretty good footwork. And not to mention, he has power. He has a lot of power in those speedy hands. So against Sam Peter, he wants constant movement. He wants to move consistently, but he wants to let his hands go in this fight. Against Sam Peter. Sam Peter does a good job against fighters who are set against him, but fighters who are on the move. Like early on in the Chambers fight, when Chambers was moving and letting his hands go, Peter had a lot of trouble against that. Though Peter has lost like 20 pounds since that fight, it was the heaviest of his career. He does. I think with the type of style that he has, that come forward throw type style, he'll have a lot of trouble with a fighter who's gonna move, and throw at the same time. So in a fight like this, I do believe that Aguilera has to constantly move, and he's gonna have to let his hands go against Sam Peter, because he doesn't want Sam Peter to have that set target to land his left hand. Because a lot of what Sam Peter does is he comes forward, left jab, left hand, left jab, left hand, and sometimes he throws in the right hand. He'll bring in the right hand. Sometimes but he throws it wide. So I think a lot of straight shots. He does have some crisp hooks. Throws some crisp hooks. But kind of in a way kind of keep his range away from Sam Peter. I think in the later rounds, I honestly think he should try to make an attempt to zero in on Peter, with his using his hand speed and try to overwhelm him with shots. But in this case, I think that's what Aguilera needs to do to win the fight. I think he needs to use his hand speed, let his hands go, and pretty much move quite a bit, and not give Sam Peter that set target that he wants. Because Sam Peter does well if you're a set target. Even though Vitaly Klitschko is kind of there, he has a good chin. I'm not sure about Aguilera's chin, but I do think that just the constant movement and hand speed will be Aguilera's way of winning the fight. Sam Peter, I think in this fight, Sam Peter needs to. And first off, I do want to say this. Sam Peter, I'm glad that he did lose, all that weight. But who knows if he's going to come in, 240 pounds, for this upcoming fight. I think he was like 240 his last fight. And that's actually really good for Sam Peter. Coming down, 240, down 240 pounds, something that Chris Arreola can't do. But Sam Peter actually did it, and Sam Peter, now signed with Top Rank. Said that he's more dedicated to his craft now. But who knows? But from the fight that I seen him, when he was down in weight, he was still kind of the same Sam Peter. He left jab, left hand, left jab, left hand. You know, um, pretty much. I said left jab, left hand, left jab, left hook. I meant. It was just the same thing. But in this fight, I think that Sam Peter really needs to throw his jab more. I think he needs to double up his jab, and and possibly set up Aguilera for the knockout. Using his jab. I think in this fight, against Aguilera, I think that Sam Peter just really needs, like I said, just really needs to use his jab, as a weapon, as a setup, as the kind of his key to winning the fight. Because Aguilera, I think that sometimes from what I've seen of him, I've seen sometimes his guard's a little low, or sometimes he doesn't get his hands back in time. But Aguilera does do a good job of getting his hands back, but sometimes he doesn't get them back up, in time, in good time. So I think with Sam Peter, I think Sam Peter needs to, like I said, just throw his left jab. I think applying, constant pressure. I think and like I say, in a lot of fights, cutting off the ring. He really needs to cut out the ring, and really range. Range is another weapon for Sam Peter, keeping, kind of a distance, kind of keeping a range. Because if Aguilera could zero in on him, I think that would be a lot of trouble for Sam Peter. If he could just if Aguilera just zeroes in, and the same way he did to like Mike Jones and Oleg Maskayev. The fight, and those fights are on YouTube. And there's another one I've seen of Aguilera. I don't even know the fighter's name, but he just kind of just held his ground, and then he zeroed in. And Sam Peter, I think he really has to offset the offense of of Aguilera, and I think that Sam Peter has to like I said, left jab, cut off the ring, and try his best, and throw the right hand as well. Throwing the right hand because Sam Peter he does have power in the right hand. He has a lot of power in the right hand, but there's times when he's just stuck on the left because the left works for him, and doesn't throw the right. So I do think he needs to throw the right hand more in this fight. But if I had to come up with a winner for this fight, I'm gonna go with Aguilera. I like Aguilera. I like his I like the hand speed. I like his overall skill. I think that if he has a good chin, and he could stay in the ring for the full 12, I think that Aguilera could get the unanimous decision. So I'm gonna go with Nagy Aguilera by unanimous decision. This is one of those fights I thought I'd try. Though I don't have much information on Aguilera, I've seen a few fights, and I'm just basing it on what I've seen of him. But anyway, matchup takes place March 12th. I believe it's going to be on Top Rank Live or one of those Fox Sports cards. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.